continuation with my testimony. So the church that I went to where I gave my life to the Lord, I finally made the decision to follow him wholeheartedly this time. And I was continuing to go to that church, and then the Lord had me to be removed. He removed me from that church. He wanted me to go somewhere else. He wanted me to go to a different church. And something started to happen with me where I was just growing. I just kept on feeling, and I mean, it's not a bad thing. I was growing more and more and more in the spirit, and I outgrew that church. And I went to another church, and I like this church, but I grew very fond of the other church, and I was very I was used to everybody who was there. I was used to their, the company, everybody. They were like family to me. So for God to transition me from that church to another church I did not know. I didn't know anybody who was there. So I went there obediently, but my heart was still kind of like drawn to the other church. But then the Lord showed me a vision of how I was in the spirit in that old church. And I saw myself sitting down all the way in the back, the last row of in the back, and I was chained to the chair. And then I heard the Lord tell me, he said, they will not use your gifts or your talents, and they will not put you to the front. They will not utilize you. You will stay in that seat, and that is where they would keep you. It's a controlling church. This is what he was showing me in the spirit. And then he showed me, he said, I did not call you to sit in the back. He said, I did not call you to sit in the front. He said, I called you to be a leader. He said, I called you to lead those that are believers and non-believers. He said, I called you to teach the teachers, to teach the leaders. He said, I called you to teach the leaders. And he said, I am going to be leading the leaders. So how does this tie up to Mary Magdalene's story? So Mary Magdalene was the apostle to the apostles, and she was the one who was leading the disciples when they didn't believe. She received heavenly insight, heavenly downloads from God, and she received divine insight, revelations and the Lord gave her the responsibility to go and preach this, to speak this, to share what she has received from the Lord. And this was her mission that the Lord gave to her specifically. And she was supposed to be an apostle to the apostles. She was supposed to teach the apostles. And so this, when the Lord was showing me about this, like at the time I didn't understand it. I didn't understand, like I was thinking to myself, like, how am I supposed to be a teacher for the leaders? Like, how am I supposed to teach those who are already leaders? I'm over here thinking, like, aren't they supposed to be people who are they're supposed to teach you? Like, how am I supposed to teach those that already supposedly they know it all? But I teach those who are leaders. And in today's age, this is exactly what I do. I am part of different groups. I'm part of different prayer line groups, and there are inside of these groups, there's pastors, there's leaders, there's evangelists, there's people that are very well known, and I go on there and I teach them. And the Lord has anointed me to speak on these platforms where I can teach the leaders. And I do this personally, I do this online, I do this in person, I do this over the phone, so the testimony of Mary Magdalene is very, 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 very much alive, and I'm over here thinking how am I supposed to do this? But it's not me, it's God's anointing. This is his anointing. This is what he has in store for me, and this is his plans, and this is what the Lord had for Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene, she was a teacher to the teachers. She was an apostle to the apostles. She had the responsibility, the anointing to carry out the anointing of the Lord's teachings, the weight of the Lord's teachings from Him Himself, from the Lord Himself. So she had visions, and she had dreams, and she was given this insight to give to them. So, and here I am, and I have like visions, like I can't even say like how many visions I have, like in just one day. I have like literally visions after visions after visions, and I know for a fact that they are accurate because I receive it by faith. I when I get these revelations, I receive it by faith. So it's the same thing like Mary Magdalene. Every time she got the revelation, she received it wholeheartedly by faith. She did not doubt it for a single second. I believe 100% that every time I receive these dreams or these visions, it is 100% coming from the Lord. I believe it. And I know if there's anything like any other thing, like I know the difference between God's voice, like the voice of a demonic, the voice of a demon. I know. So God has given me this heavenly wisdom and discernment and wisdom. So I just wanted to share a little bit more about that, about how the gifts of Mary Magdalene is still very, 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 very much alive, and it's living inside of me. So I just want to continue to share my story of how it's very real. If you don't believe the Bible, I'm basically living proof. Me and my husband, we're living proof that the stories of the Bible are true. And I just want to share my story